Marine mammal strandings and environmental changes have been documented over the last 15 years between 1994 and 2008 so that we can create an understanding about the effects climate variability and environmental parameters have on marine mammal survival. To understand complex ecological responses of these marine mammals to environmental change, we need to consider environmental parameters over multiple scales and to address data for multiple species. The black lines shown here are the possible effects of the regional parameters. The dashed lines are the possible indirect effects of continental parameters, and the grey lines are additional effects previously reported in the literature. Here, our main objective was to investigate possible relationships between temporal variation in marine mammal stranding events and changes in environmental conditions occurring in St. Lawrence Estuary in northern western Gulf of St. Lawrence in 1994 to 2008. Environmental changes are occurring worldwide, and the consequence of recent climate variability are now acknowledged as a global contribution to geographic differences in intensity. We also predicted that sea ice volume will negatively influence stranding numbers of hagophilic species, and krill abundance will negatively influence stranding numbers of sea species. Recent environmental changes in the St. Lawrence, below average ice cover over the last decade, and structural changes in the marine mammal community, composition, abundance, and distribution of several invertebrates and fishes have been identified as critical factors affecting the dynamics of marine mammal populations. Our findings provided an empirical baseline in understanding marine mammal survival when faced with climatic variability. This is a promising step in integrating stranding records to monitor the consequences of environmental changes in marine ecosystems over long scales. Environmental parameters failed to explain interannual variations of stranding events for two species, harbour seals and fin whales. This explanatory power of modules, including several environmental parameters, varied greatly based on the species. Stranding data do not allow us to define the ecological mechanisms underlying changes in water conditions. However, in contrast, the effect of water conditions on widely distributed cetaceans has largely been examined at a fine spatio-temporal scale, focusing on marine mammal sighting data rather than stranding data. As a way forward, we suggest that sighting data may be combined in the future stranding data as a more comprehensive tool to understand ecological linkages. This would be especially relevant in feeding areas where water parameters affect prey aggression and consequently the distribution of marine mammals into predictable areas.